Welcome back to the Soft Spirit Stories channel. Today, we will embark on a special journey where every religious belief, moral viewpoint, and traditional way of thinking may be challenged by bold perspectives. Imagine that all the rules and truths you have always believed in are actually just the tip of a huge iceberg hidden beneath the surface of the water. Underneath it, who knows if there exist forbidden knowledge, books, or texts buried out of fear that if people discover them, they will free themselves from old constraints. One of the most powerful symbols of this forbidden knowledge that is often mentioned is the Book of Lucifer. According to Orthodox Christianity, Lucifer or Lux Fere, the one who brings light, is associated with the image of a fallen angel, representing sin and opposition to God. But in some unorthodox interpretations, Lucifer is honored as an enlightening symbol, someone who dares to challenge imposed truths. Similarly, Dolores Cannon, in her work Between Death and Life, discusses the worlds after a person dies, opening up the possibility of metaphysical perception that not everyone is encouraged by the Church to explore. It is very possible that the things we consider mysterious are just pieces of a larger puzzle that have been censored for centuries. Looking back at history, we see that Christianity arose from the 1st century AD in the Mediterranean region, when the Roman Empire was at its peak. At first, Christianity only attracted a small group of believers, mostly slaves and those marginalized by society. However, thanks to the support of Emperor Constantine in the 4th century, this religion gradually spread throughout the empire, later becoming the official religion of Rome, marking the beginning of a sweeping religious power during the Middle Ages. From the 5th to the 15th century, the Catholic Church controlled most of the spiritual as well as social life in Europe, even getting involved in legislating, managing philosophy, education, and turning itself into a gatekeeper of knowledge. Anything deviating from doctrine was labeled heresy. The trials of the Inquisition since the 12th century are evidence of how thought was suppressed by power. If books or viewpoints were seen as opposing the Church, they were often burned, banned, and their authors could be severely punished. Giordano Bruno, a philosopher in the late 16th century who dared to assert an infinite universe with countless worlds, was condemned to be burned at the stake in 1600. Galileo Galilei, merely for supporting the heliocentric model contrary to the geocentric concept upheld by the Church, was placed under lifelong house arrest. This is proof that daring to explore beyond traditional boundaries means facing danger. Around the 19th century, philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche emerged as a powerful wave, challenging the foundation of Christianity. He proclaimed God is dead, not in the literal sense, but to indicate that Western society was gradually losing absolute faith in a supreme God. Nietzsche believed that Christianity taught people to depend on others, restricted the exploration of personal will, and thus weakened vitality, as well as blocked much potential for development. This controversial statement led to numerous subsequent ideological movements. Fringe movements or doctrines like Satanism or Luciferianism in the 20th century took inspiration from Nietzsche, viewing Christianity as a system that instills guilt, preventing people from satisfying natural desires and expressing personal power. Anton LaVey with The Satanic Bible, 1969, put forth a liberal perspective, emphasizing rebellion, individualism, calling on people to enjoy what life offers without fear of being judged by a supreme being. This viewpoint, though labeled evil, shares a common point with Nietzsche. It values free will and considers orthodox religion a barrier. In this context, the concept of Book of Lucifer or Lucifer as the one who brings light can be understood as a symbol. Instead of being the devil, Lucifer implies the spirit of illuminating hidden corners, encouraging forbidden intellect. Revisiting the Old and New Testaments, we find many stories related to the image of a fallen angel, a morning star, explained in the book of Ezekiel 28 or Isaiah 14. However, from a Luciferian perspective, that fall is interpreted as an uprising against rigid dogma, demanding the right to knowledge and freedom of thought. They even compare it with the story in Genesis 3, when the serpent tempted Eve to eat the forbidden fruit. making Yahweh fear that humans would know good and evil, would become like us. This detail reflects the power's obsession that once humans have knowledge, they will no longer be controlled. Many Bible references mention Yahweh's jealousy and punishment. For example, in Exodus 25, I, Yahweh, am a jealous God, which the Luciferian group might deduce as showing that God also fears humans reaching a level equal to the divine. Of course, this is an unorthodox interpretation and is opposed by Orthodox Church. Dolores Cannon, with Between Death and Life, offers another perspective on the soul's journey after the physical body dies, describing the planes of spirit where humans can access unlimited knowledge. Cannon's reasoning implies that there are multiple intertwined realities that people can totally explore if not bound by traditional dogmas. This idea is easily labeled superstitious, but it resonates with those who believe that our knowledge is constrained by limits imposed by religion and society. And according to some, the Book of Lucifer symbolizes that hidden plane of knowledge, where people can free themselves if they know how to doubt, even accepting the risk of being labeled heretical. Of course, the history of Christianity also has notable points about love and charity, about Jesus calling to love your enemies, Matthew 5:44, about saints who sacrificed themselves for the community. But on the other hand, when this system became a world institution, a trend of domination and conformity in thought appeared. From the Middle Ages onward, the heresy trials show the immense influence of the Church. One needs to revisit this struggle to understand why figures like Nietzsche, LaVey, or Luciferian movements chose to confront or reverse the symbol of Lucifer from evil to enlightenment. They argue that if we do not dare to doubt, humanity will remain shackled in the darkness of fear. The Bible in the first epistle of John 4:1 says, "Do not believe every spirit, but test them," implying that blind faith is not at all encouraged. In contrast, doubt is the stepping stone to verify and strengthen belief. However, over many centuries, how these Bible passages are applied can be distorted, leading people only toward obedience, with questioning forbidden. Turning to Nietzsche, the statement, "God is dead," resonates as an invitation. Humans must build values and virtues based on their own resources, not rely on a supreme being. The will to power is how he suggested each individual could advance, discovering potential, including breaking religious constraints. In this sense, Lucifer becomes close to a rising up philosophy, symbolizing the rebellious angel. Lucifer contrasts with the image of the obedient servant, much like Eve biting the apple to gain autonomy. In the New Testament, Jesus also did not hesitate to challenge the traditional regulations of Jewish scribes. His act of overturning the money changers' tables in the temple, John 13:16, shows that he criticized the exploitation of faith for profit. Yet the Church might emphasize obedience, not the aspect of questioning. Anton LaVey, through the Satanic Bible, demonstrates a principle of human-centric, eliminating the fear of judgment, opposing the prohibition of desire tendency that Christianity often stresses. LaVey accused the Church of sowing guilt, causing people to be anxious, not daring to enjoy life. What he advocated is, of course, shocking, especially to Christian believers, but he declared it was solely to break down the fear barrier set up by God or religious authorities. Similarly, the Book of Lucifer that many Luciferian groups hold in high regard also values alertness, freedom to seek buried secrets, but is deemed demonic in the Orthodox interpretation. Dolores Cannon focuses on spirituality, stating that after death, the soul explores a space far more vast than the way the traditional church describes heaven or hell. She suggests that humans have been and continue to be held back in understanding, simply because they fear being considered heretical. The common spirit of Cannon, LaVey, Nietzsche, and the Luciferian line is, break away from the comfort zone. Doubt the things that have long been acknowledged so that you can see and discover on your own. However, where is the line between doubting to be enlightened and rejecting all values? In fact, the goal of doubt is not to destroy faith without reason, but to encourage people to refine it, to see whether that faith is really sustainable or merely based on fear. In the Gospels, Jesus also frequently warns against hypocrisy. implying that religion itself is not necessarily good unless it comes with truth and love. Therefore, if faith is truly good, it will stand firm through any test. Conversely, if it is grounded in a shaky foundation, then doubt simply exposes the weakness within. Studying the Book of Lucifer or following Dolores Cannon is a personal decision. That person accepts being labeled going after heresies or is ready to face disagreement. The important thing is to understand that throughout history, many scientific or philosophical inventions emerged when people dared to question, dared to turn upside down what was considered truth. Galileo, Darwin, or Bruno were all accused of opposing God. But over time, the majority of humanity eventually recognized their achievements. Who knows, maybe one day, ideas like the Book of Lucifer or spiritual science, in Dolores Cannon's direction, may find a certain place in the treasury of knowledge, instead of being considered deviant. Luciferian philosophy or Satanism might provoke controversy, but they remind us that humans tend to fear the unknown. If the Holy Scriptures call for faith, then skeptical philosophy calls for scrutiny, while the Book of Lucifer calls to break the frame. Lucifer equals evil, and see the bringer of light aspect that shines on hidden corners. From this angle, Lucifer is a brave symbol seeking to free humanity from the chains of dogma. Certainly on the other side, the Church thinks that Lucifer is a deceiver, using the pretext of freedom to pull people away from God. But it is precisely this clash that allows history to progress, because different opinions are the catalyst that pushes society to think. Today, when we are immersed in the world of technology, social media, and a sea of chaotic information, doubt has become more essential than ever. Too many directives can make us unable to distinguish truth from falsehood. Without the ability to think critically, we can easily become victims of media manipulation or new dogmas. Likewise, the call to not fear forbidden knowledge in the Book of Lucifer, or not let the Church limit the truth from many Luciferian groups, can be seen as another version of test everything in the very Bible. In summary, the common message is, knowledge is the tool of liberation. Truth only disappears when people dare not look for it. Dolores Cannon, with her concept of metaphysical realms, helps us realize that beyond material and doctrine, the soul can experience a different dimension, where definitions of heaven or hell may not be as we think. This is the complementary piece to the Book of Lucifer, when that book suggests that humans need the courage to step forward, not letting the old mold bind them. Some people worry that free exploration will lead to moral decay or mental chaos. But in contrast, if everyone believes something without explanation, we easily fall into stagnation, reflecting Nietzsche's fear, a rigid society lacking creativity. Finally, the choice to believe or disbelieve, accept or doubt, return to Christianity or follow Luciferianism, read the Bible or read between death and life, depends on each individual. The essential point is to maintain the spirit of free inquiry, to dare to question when necessary, because only then can people actively navigate their spiritual journey. Jesus once emphasized, "The truth will set you free," John 8:32, while Nietzsche, Levi, Cannon, or the Book of Lucifer unanimously under a different angle. To seek that truth, you first have to dare to break the prison of fear, ready to step into forbidden zones. We hope this journey has sparked many ideas within you, aroused a bit of skepticism, and stimulated a desire to explore. At the Soft Spirit Stories channel, we want to bring more content that continues to kindle independent thinking, especially in a world that is always shifting, flooded with information, and where old dogmas can still constrain our thoughts. If you enjoy this topic, please press the subscribe button, share the video so we can have more resources to maintain and expand these unusual discussions. Finally, remember that the journey of awareness does not end when you turn off the video. Everyone has the opportunity to learn more, read the Bible, study Between Death and Life or the Book of Lucifer, explore Nietzsche and Levi, and above all, face the question, are we brave enough to doubt, to overcome fear, and to open ourselves up? Thank you for joining us, and see you in the next videos on Soft Spirit Stories.